after I was able to heal myself using my mind, I thought people are going to think I'm crazy, like that this could actually work, because you don't really think of the mind having that much impact on the physical body, especially because I had an accident, and technically two, a car accident and a fall. And so a lot of people would think that's really impossible, myself included. I used to do network engineering and operations, so it didn't make sense to me how it was possible. And so I wanted to show people that they could really do this, that our minds are truly amazing. And that's what I want to share with you today, is I want to show you under thermal medical equipment that you can actually get physical results using just the mind, so you can see it with your own eyes. And it's truly amazing. And by the way, part of the reason that I started doing this was because after I got better, I started getting asked to speak at different locations, and I would take people from the audience and show them how to use their mind to release their pain or make all kinds of changes with their health. And I thought, one day somebody in the audience is going to think, that person's fake. That person is a plant. They don't really have pain or something like that. And so I really wanted to show it in a way where you could see it. And that's what we're going to do today, is you're actually going to see a scan change as I'm working with somebody to coach them to use their own mind. Now, I do want to say one thing as we step in, just one quick note, and it's this. It's that I make this look very easy. And I will explain more at the end, more about to give you a deeper understanding. But what I do want to say going in is that as I'm working with her, it just simply looks like I'm talking to her. But the thing you want to keep in mind is the awareness of energy in a very grounded sense. So basically, when neurons fire in the brain and throughout the body, they release what are called biophotons. Now, biophotons are basically a quantum of light, a particle of light. And by the way, this is all scientifically proven. Like, you can look up research on biophotons, and you can see that there's all kinds of research going on right now, even with photons. And if you think about the power of photons, I mean, that's ultimately, if you think about solar energy, energy from the sun, that is photons. Or even if you think about Wi-Fi and internet connection, that is all done through fiber optics, which are communication through photons. So that's the power of photons. Or even a laser beam. What is that? That's photons. And so when we stop and think about the awareness of photons, they can be very powerful. And what happens is, as a person thinks, biophotons are released. So basically, biophotons are photons from a biological organism. So they're kind of, body created photons. And so that's what happens. So when I'm changing her way of thinking and the way that her mind is firing, then ultimately it's changing photons. And so the way I see it is this, is that these photons have the ability to interact with the physical body. And not just sending information like they would with Wi-Fi or something like that, but also an interaction with the physical body. Now, you might say, how can a photon interact with the physical body? Well, when you stop and think about it, our bodies aren't so physical. Like, if you've ever heard before that our body's about 60% water. I mean, our bodies are made of atoms and molecules, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, etc. And so our bodies aren't so physical. And as far as the idea of photons interfering with electrons, that's actually very common. And if you think about Einstein, Einstein, a lot of people think that he got his Nobel Prize for the theory of relativity, E equals mc squared. So that's what a lot of people think that he got his Nobel Prize for. But what he really got it for is the photoelectric effect. And what the photoelectric effect is with material matter, is that photons can interfere with electrons. So photoelectric effect. Now, a very simple way to think about this is, if you think about, if you've ever left like a red cushion or anything colored out in the sun for a while, you'll notice it'll fade. Why is that? And it doesn't do it, if you think about it, if you leave it in the shade. But in the sun, it fades, and that's because the photons from the sun can actually start breaking down the electrons in the color bonds in the item that's there. So that's where fading comes from. So basically what we can look at is we can see there are a variety of different ways that photons can interfere with electrons. And the body's made of electrons. And there's not just the photoelectric effect, and that's with physical matter. There's also photoconductivity and also ionization. So we can see there are a lot of different ways that photons can interfere and interact with electrons. And again, very simply, this is going to look very easy. Basically, I'm working with the volunteer with her mind. And that's all we're doing. But the key thing in it is getting her neurons, her way of thinking, to change. And as it does, you'll notice that the scan changes. So with that said, let's go ahead and I'll let you see with your own eyes. Again, very simple, but also profound. That said, let's dive in. Here we go. And if we look right here, we're definitely seeing some things on the scan. And Dr. Hillary, if you'd like to explain.
So again, we're looking at a neck, and we see some increased heat, inflammation in the upper cervicals or the upper part of her neck, down the muscles, and then extending down into her upper back, more on the right, but then it becomes broader as we go a little bit farther down.
Great. And currently right now, what's the level of pain that you're experiencing in your neck? 0 to 10?
It's probably, currently it's 4.
Currently a 4? Okay.
5.
4? 5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Somewhere between those, right?
Yes.
Okay. And, perfect. And, here we go. And what's your original language?
My original language is Hungarian.
Hungarian, okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have a conversation. So I'm going to ask you some questions, that sort of thing. I'm going to ask you to kind of translate everything back into your original language when we talk about it in your mind.
Okay.
Okay? Perfect. So, and here we go. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and take a breath. Great. And I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And can you picture that your career starts unfolding even better and better the way you're wanting it to? And even can you picture that this trip to Arizona works out perfect? And not only that, but leads to even more opportunity. And can you picture how big the smile on your face would be experiencing that? And could you picture how proud of you your family would be? And also your boyfriend. And how proud of yourself. And just for a moment, can you feel the feeling of relief and how safe it feels to have everything just open up the way it did before, just doing it again? And just for a moment, could you feel how great that would feel? You've heard before success breeds success and failure breeds failure, right?
Yes.
Great. So right now I'm going to ask you if you want to go ahead and hold on to feelings of failure or if you want to hold on to feelings of success.
Success.
Success. Now from your past, do you remember feelings of success?
Oh, yeah.
Great. So I'm going to ask you just for a moment to feel those feelings as much as you possibly can. Okay. And knowing that success breeds success, how often would you like to hold on and feel to those feelings?
All the time.
Okay. And lately, have you been feeling those feelings?
Unfortunately not.
Okay. Have you been feeling more of the opposite?
Yes.
And has more of the opposite been showing up?
Yes.
Okay. So if you started feeling more of these positive feelings, what would happen?
Probably I will feel more successful and successful follow.
Great. Don't do that. It would make it way too easy, right? See what your future would look like then. Okay. So just for a moment, instead, you know those feelings of stress you've been feeling?
Yes.
Go ahead and stay in those as long as you want. Don't let anybody interrupt those. If that's where you want to stay. So can you see that the feelings of success that you had even before? And can you see other feelings of struggle and frustration and hardship that you've been having?
Yes.
This next week, which ones do you want to hold on to?
Oh, to my success stories and to my happiness.
Great. Just for the moment, can you feel them? Not just think about them, but really feel them. There you go. And I'm asking you to feel it even more. Great. So there's a big difference between thinking about success and feeling successful, right?
Yes.
So I want you to go ahead and think about your success that you had. Or I want you to feel it.
Now feel it.
Yeah, which would you prefer to do? Just think about it or feel it?
Oh, feel it.
Okay. And for your future, would you prefer to just think about it or feel it?
Well, I want to feel it. I want to experience it again.
Great. Could you just for the moment experience it and feel what that would feel like? Can you take the feelings from the past and feel them in the now and project them into the future? And 0 to 10 currently, what's the level of pain in your neck?
Right now I don't feel it.
We can even see the difference between the pain level on the first scan, indicated by the red all over the neck area, and the green scan just minutes later.
Hi, my name is Henriette Novak, and I came here to see Brandy. And I was hoping for some amazing results, and actually I already feel them. But right now I just feel so relaxed, so for some reason I really want to cry, but this is a good cry. This is when you feel like loved. And I feel like I'm like hugged by my mom. It's very weird. I don't know if it's Brandy's voice or whatever she is doing with me, but it feels like I feel so safe, and I feel like, oh, okay, everything is gonna be good again. And I experienced it, and I just really loved it.
So let's go ahead and break this down a bit, because I know I make this look very simple, and it's not as easy as it looks. You know, you wouldn't expect most people to just be able to release their pain in minutes. What I want you to notice, though, is that she genuinely feels differently, like hugely. You can see she even has tears of feeling differently. And this beautiful woman did incredible at really shifting her emotions. And notice she also said, you know, I just feel so different. Maybe it's something that Brandy's doing. And part of what I figured out and discovered to make radical changes is how to use the mind and how to really create radical shifts. You know, all too often when people are even trying something to change an emotion or feel happiness, they're doing it in the wrong way or out of order. And it's like, to everything there's an order. I mean, if you're cooking, there's an order. If you're driving, there's an order to do things. Even if you're getting dressed, there's an order. You wouldn't put on your shoes and then try to put on your pants. It would make it feel like a struggle, and everybody would be like, God, it's so hard to try to get dressed. And that's the way that a lot of people are working with the mind. They're just meditating, or they're just visualizing, or whatever it is, or doing a variety of different things, but they're not understanding how to really change the mind. And not only that, but part of the way that I've been able to help people to get results is to target specific information and to then start creating that radical change in an orderly way that makes sense, because I too was doing all of the things. I was, meditating and listening to binaural beats and music and visualization and affirmations and chanting. I mean, everything, which was outside of the box for me, considering I used to do network engineering and I was very, very analytical. But again, it is all very logical when you stop and think about it and look outside of the box. So anyways, I just want to describe that and really break that down more, because the average person will not get results in minutes, and I don't want to be deceiving in that way. My biggest goal is to show you that we are all truly amazing. And if you would like to learn more about how to do this, there are some links below, some free information, or you can join one of my classes and come join me, because I have to say, what we are all capable of is truly incredible. And when you stop and think about it, there are 1.5 billion people in this world who live with pain, and not just pain, but other ailments also. What if everybody knew how powerful and amazing our minds really were? And that is my goal. I spent almost 7 years injured on morphine in extreme pain, not thinking that I had an actual future for my life. And it was hard. And my hope is that everybody wakes up to this awareness that we're incredible and life is incredible. So on that note, I wish you a most wonderful rest of your day. Come join me. Come join me on a video set. Come join me in a workshop. Come join me. Have fun. Make it an amazing day.